Hey everybody, it's Colby, and I want to talk about something us founders have that is really a silent killer among us. And it is this whole if you feel like you're stuck or something's not feeling right, chances are it's not your fault at all. Chances are you're suffering from identity contamination, is what I call it. And so, what are we going to talk about in this video? We're going to talk about what identity contamination is. We're going to talk about the symptoms of it, what causes it, uh, and then how you can get past it, honestly. And this is something that's really, really intimate to me because I feel like my identity has been absolutely contaminated via my own doing for the last like 60 to 90 days. And only in the last few days have I gotten out of it. And honestly, it was defining it as identity contamination. I think that was like the piece that moved me out of it, right? So first of all, what is identity contamination? So just so I get the definition right here, identity contamination happens when your system is flooded with other people's formulas, ambitions, as aesthetics, and values until you can't hear your own voice at all. And so what does this actually look like on the surface in terms of causing identity contamination? Because again, it's not like you're broken. It's not like you have some sort of defect. It's that when we really want something, at least this is what it was for me, I really wanted to be successful at speed, right? So if we flash back about 70 days ago, I saw this coach who had put on his Instagram stories that he was running a specific type of thing. And it was just the classic like serendipity is, oh, that's the exact thing I'm trying to learn to figure out, right? And I was like, hey, you're teaching this at an in-person retreat. I actually have my own retreat for my community of founders, which is called Autonomy Club, by the way, because autonomy is the ability to say yes or no without fear. So that's exactly what I teach for founders who are leveling up. I was like, our retreats are at the same time. And so I can't attend yours. Is there any possibility that when you teach this live that you will be recording, and then can I buy the recordings off of you? Because it's a skill I'm trying to learn. He was like, no, I don't do that. Let's just hop on a call. And then I didn't hop on a call with him. I hopped on a call with one of his salespeople. But in this conversation, it was really kind of eye-opening because the conversation wasn't going that well. I am usually like a very easy person to talk to, but there was something awkward in this conversation. Anyways, we got to the point where I'm in the first now 11 full months. I'm in month 12 of my business, Autonomy Club. And my only goal, because I had left my past gig, my full-time gig, building an agency to global top 1,000, a marketing agency for 9 years, bootstrapped the thing, got it to multi-seven figures, burned the hell out in the process. And that's kind of how Autonomy Club was born. Through a lot of that is like I started building from flow, not hustle. I started having, discernment as the number one skill, saying yes and no to things, primarily no. So I could control my time instead of, just thinking every single thing is an opportunity and really, really focused on alignment, right? So like that's what I teach now is alignment, intent, discernment, autonomy, all that kind of stuff. And long story short, when I left the agency and I finally had an offer out there, I didn't make any money for 4 months, but around January 1st, January 2nd time, sold an offer, sold it again. And that was more or less, we're sitting here on December 10 right now, right? So almost a year ago, I was able to start helping people. And once I started making money with my solo business, I was just like, I have two goals. One is build a brand identity that I'm really, really proud of. And I can say now that I'm like absolutely establishing that. It's fucking awesome and I'm a big fan of it. But the other goal was obviously I have a family to support. So it was, can I make as much or more money than I did at the agency? And so, go backwards, rewind about 70 days, and I'm having a conversation with this salesperson saying, I already made that money. I made it in the first 7 months of this year, which was pretty wild. And so I said, well, I'm in make a mess mode. I'm in just trying to figure out what do I want to do? Like I still feel so new at this coaching space and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm not new to the business world. And he's like, well, how many people are you, serve, or like how many new people are you getting every single month as clients? And I was like, 2 to 3, but I'm not really, I'm not running any ads. I'm not really marketing like crazy. the way I've gotten business all year has just been having coffee chats with people. And so for the ROI on coffee, by the way, if you have any interest in how I book coffee chats, I would stay tuned to this channel because I will absolutely reveal exactly how I've done that. But the result is, as of last looking, I bought $225 worth of coffee this year, and it has delivered over $120K in revenue, right? Front end cash, based on what I collect, whatever. But that is a 545x ROI. So if you have any interest in that craziness, by all means, and if YouTube doesn't flag this as like a grand claim, even though it's entirely true, then yeah, stay tuned to this channel, subscribe. Now would be a great time. So I'm telling him I'm in make a mess mode, and he's like, well, how many people, if you went full in on advertising marketing, could you serve and all that sort of stuff? And I was like, well, I could probably serve 10 people every single month, additionally on top of the clients I already have, without sacrificing the quality of the product. And so he does quick math, and long story short, he goes, so if we take 8 times 12, which I think is like 100 people, right? He's like, are you willing to not help 100 people this upcoming year because you're just making a mess? And that was like the perfect phrase to just kind of, quite frankly, like kind of piss me off. And then it also triggered that, man, it sounds like this coach has a lot of information I don't have. And he's very successful, you know, has had multiple 8-figure businesses and that sort of stuff. Ridiculously talented human being. Okay. Long story short, I sign up. I joke with all of the people at my retreat because it happened like a few days before we had our in-person retreat here in Milwaukee, which was banging. And I was basically joking to anyone who would listen. I was like, I basically bought a car's worth of coaching to learn stuff I don't know. And if I was going to spend that much, I was like, I'm going to be the best fucking student possible. I am going to do everything they tell me to do, and I'm going to make it work. And that is where identity contamination comes in, because I build my business from calm and peace. And one of the key and operative words we use inside of Autonomy Club is flow, like to have a flow business. And what is flow? Flow is just like complete focus, alignment, belief, conviction, with zero outside noise, distraction, any of that sort of stuff to build what you want, right? So every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, for instance, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., I don't have any calls, right? I operate from flow. So I'm looking inward, not outward. I'm focusing on my big ideas and all that sort of stuff. I am creating things like coffee chat funnels that have ridiculous outsized return. I am creating a better quality product for my existing clients and future clients. I'm working on offers that are just like freaking no brainer and will help people. I'm doing all the stuff I love to do, like creating content like this, self-expression, right? I'm doing this during flow time because this just feels natural to me. And for 60 days, I abandoned that entirely, because here's the thing with identity contamination is it is really freaking easy to fall off and start doing things that completely misalign with you. And so for 60 days, I did crazy shit. Like I stopped using flow time. I created a calendar link that basically allowed for every single day in availability, which is like anathema to me, because I am not the most available person for a reason, because I burned out in the past and because I was saying yes to all this stuff. But for the sake of making the system work, which is heavily built on, you know, running ads into a funnel and all that sort of stuff, was I had to be the best damn student, had to kill all of the stuff that truly aligns with me to subscribe to this. And because of the investment, I absolutely did it. But the funny thing is that you might be not in that same situation where you just invested a ton of money and you went all in on something working. But I give that because it's my own personal story. But what is your story potentially? Your story is, hey, I know I don't like sales calls, as an example. Or I know that I don't want to work nights, weekends, holidays. Or I know that when I create content online to build a personal brand, that I'm just playing a game right now. I'm just trying to appease the algorithm, or I'm trying to sound like, in my case, something I struggled with a ton in the last 3 years, because I didn't get any coaching 3 years ago, and then I went all in and I've invested a ton since. All amazing people. But every time I was in there, it was the classic, like, well, they know something I don't, therefore I need to just follow their plan, hook, line, and sinker. And then I would do that, and I would go 6 steps deep, 10 steps deep, 12 steps deep. And even if I got a result, I would just be like, I'm not loving this, man. Like, if I had to do this for another 6 months, let alone 2 years or 10 years, that money is never going to feel fucking worth it to me. And so there will be plenty of people, if this gets seen by hundreds, thousands, whatever, who will watch this and be like, oh man, wants to have his cake and eat it too, and all that sort of stuff. Here's the deal. I work my ass off. What I will say is, when I do it, the system isn't good enough. Everybody's system works. Like, that's why I paid them. Their system works. This is not an attack at their personal character, any of that. Their systems work. It's proven. It's just the moment, like, I go all in on something and it steps further and further away from my identity, and you're probably feeling this, right? You go all in on, hey, say you set a goal of we need to hit 100K a month, right? And you go completely all in on that goal. And then the biggest issue is that you didn't actually ask yourself, what does that do for us? What do we want it for? I can picture myself with 100K month. What am I doing? How am I using it? Is my life better? And nobody's asking those questions because they set the goal because somebody told them they should hit 100K months, or they should use this system or this funnel or do it this way. And then even if they're successful, they end up at that result and they fucking hate it. And so let's talk about the symptoms a little bit, because I wrote them down, but this is exactly what I felt in these 60 days, right? Is everything I said felt forced. I was constantly like, I would create a piece of sales copy or ad copy or content or whatever, and I would send it to the coach and get his feedback. And I realized that I was just trying to say it in a way that would make the system work. And so it felt forced. And because it felt forced, it didn't work. And a natural response to this, going down the list, is you start hating your own work. You don't trust your own ideas. So everything I would send, I'd be like, well, I don't freaking love this. Like, we created a VSL as an example, and I followed the exact way. A VSL is a video sales letter, by the way, which is just a way for someone who is already like interested, problem aware, solution aware, to watch a short video, typically like less than 20 minutes. And then at the end of that video, it's like, hey, book a call with me or buy my thing, right? So the one I did was entirely like following the plan. And again, I freaking love this guy. I think this guy is amazing, right? But I followed his plan. And when I shipped it, and hindsight's a beautiful thing, but when I shipped it, I remember thinking, that is completely opposite of what I would normally do. But I'm following the plan. I'm being the best damn student. In short, I'm contaminated by somebody else's plan, which I signed up for investing in, right? But I didn't like it, right? Here's a big one. You feel pressure to replicate other people's results. That's a symptom all day. Ironically, so I'd been in the program for 7 weeks, and he announced a win to his Instagram stories, and it was somebody else who had been in for like exactly 7 weeks. We must have signed the same day. And it was this outsized result. And I was like, I'll be honest, it impacted me far less than most people, but it absolutely impacted me, right? Where for a couple of minutes, max like 10 minutes, and then I'm just like, I got back to objectivity. It was like different person, different experience, different offer, different target, all that kind of stuff. But in that moment, I was like, yo, I was the best fucking student. You know what I mean? And then you get into entitlement and all that sort of stuff, and you kill it real quick. But like, that's how much contamination hits you, is that you are so focused on this thing you think you should be focused on, that you stop knowing yourself at all, right? And other symptoms, you lose clarity, you lose flow, you lose originality, you lose you. And if I look back in hindsight at those 60 days and completely like my fault for being contaminated, that's another thing. Even though I've given all these examples, I cannot have you walk away from this video thinking that it's somebody else's fault. It is my fault 100%, right? It's just you get swept up in this, I need to do it this way, or this has been really successful for those people. All I have to do is follow the steps, right? And then you follow the steps and you don't get the result. And then you start questioning yourself. You're like, what did I do wrong? Right? But the realization you have after the fact, once you get out of identity contamination, and we'll talk about how to get out of it here in a sec, is you realize it really comes down to, if it doesn't align with you on the front end, no system's going to save you. Because in my case, it's probably more beneficial that it hasn't worked, because it is just a clear indication of like, if you keep doing this, if you keep looking at somebody else's system or somebody else's plan or somebody else's performance and all that sort of stuff and think that that's what you want, you're not going to get it. And so it's actually probably more valuable to me that I'm not getting results, because it is just a clear indicator of like, you are throwing money away, man, if you keep doing this. I think that's actually, I'm getting off easy, because there are people who will go through it and be ridiculously successful and follow the plan entirely because they're like a freaking malleable sponge and will fit into any space somebody gives them. And then they make the money, and now their life is way more complex and way higher responsibility. And they have this massive team that they don't want. They have all of this tax they don't want and they never envisioned paying. They have all of these like random fires they never imagined putting out and all that sort of stuff. And it's not because a bigger business is harder to run necessarily. There's an element of that. But it's because they did all of this without actually knowing, what do they want? They convinced themselves they wanted the result. But if you want the result, you have to take everything that comes with it. And if you are unwilling to take everything that comes with it on day one, then you need a whole hell of a lot of mindset shift, a whole hell of a lot of sacrifice, or you shouldn't fucking do it. Which is kind of interesting to me, because I encounter a lot of people who say, well, I really want to hustle now to chill later. And there are shades of gray with everything. But I was that person. I had that belief. I need to hustle now to chill later. I need to work 80-hour weeks or 70-hour weeks or whatever it is so that I can have the 20-hour week. And it is fundamentally harmful, because all you're doing the whole time is training yourself to operate at this max stress level, that whenever you hit the dollar amount that you say you need to hit, which is, by the way, money's made up and perception based and all that sort of stuff. It's why people can charge whatever the hell they want for whatever they want, but that's neither here nor there. When you hit the number, you realize, wow, I have no idea who I am. And so do I even want the 20-hour week anymore? The only thing I know is what I created evidence doing. I just created evidence of months, years, decades of 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus hour work weeks. I have no idea how to chill. And so you need to build your business by design, not by default. So if anything I'm saying right now is resonating, it is highly likely you are absolutely contaminated. Your identity is contaminated. Because going back to the definition, identity contamination happens when your system is flooded with other people's formulas, ambitions, aesthetics, and values until you can't hear your own voice at all. And here's what I was doing, because we've identified the systems. You hate your own work, everything feels forced, all that sort of stuff. Here's like what it actually looks like, right? This is exactly what I was doing. Here's a list. You consume more than you create. Yeah, because you keep looking outward. So that we're talking about doom scrolling. We're talking about searching for coaches and courses and frameworks and templates. Like, you just keep looking. It's got to be, the answer has to be out there. I just haven't found it yet. You take other people's opinions more than leaning on your own conviction. And one area this looks like, great buddy of mine, I consider ourselves, brothers basically, but he's got a way bigger audience than me, and something I haven't mastered is like audience growth just yet, right? I have an interest in it, but obviously now I need to know I need to do it my own way. But in the contaminated mode, when your brain's not fully functioning, I asked him for help. I was like, how do you do this? 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 And he went so far. Like he actually started producing stuff for me, like giving me things I could talk about, things about my life that he's interested in. Cause we're brothers. Like he knows me really, really well. And everything he sent me was good. Everything he sent me was good. Again, the thing with identity contamination is it is not anyone else's fault. You're just in this weird, funky period, right? The whole goal is just don't be in it for decades, right? I was in it for 60 days and it wasn't freaking fun at all, but I feel fortunate it was only 60 days. But when he sent me this stuff, I'm like, hey, here's what I can talk about my content because everything I do feels forced right now. I have no freaking clue what I want to say. So my clarity is all over the place. Like, tell me what you want to hear and I'll just do that, right? He gave me like 40 days worth of stuff I could do. I sat down to start creating it. I think I got like 6 lines into one post and was like, I fucking hate this. And the problem wasn't what he sent me. The problem was I was seeking someone else's opinion, asking what I should say, which is crazy. That's what identity contamination can do to you. Is like you're literally asking other people's opinions on what you believe in. So yeah, you're looking outward more than inward. You're asking mentors instead of asking yourself. You're trying to be successful instead of being you, because success looks very different to everybody else, right? And then you're studying frameworks instead of creating your own. Here's my very like conviction heavy ranty vibe. And we're just going through to make sure I have everything. Essentially what it does is it absolutely destroys your creativity, your peace. That word I use a lot, flow. You don't know who you are. And it is like a razor thin edge to where you're a founder, so you're a chief wanting officer, right? Here's the deal. Let's say you make $50K a month right now. And 2 years ago, you were making $5K or nothing doing what you're doing right now. 2 years ago, you would absolutely freaking commit a felony to be who you are right now. Why do you want more? Because that's human nature. You're a chief wanting officer. And so if you want more, then imposter syndrome kicks in. Then it's like, man, I need to level up mode, which is exactly why I hired this coach. I was like, I am a dangerous, talented individual. But he makes 8 figures. So I need to look outward to become someone who can make 8 figures. And again, all of his stuff works. The reason it's not worked for me is because I cannot be him. And I know we want this tangibility. We want this like, don't tell me to be more me. I don't know how to do that. I'm telling you, you will make way more. You will be far more successful. My number one goal in life is to hit my potential. I have no idea what that looks like because if I set a goal for it, then that is something I can imagine. I genuinely believe hitting your potential is something you can't imagine. So I don't have goals anymore. I just head in directions, right? I'm heading in the direction of hitting my potential. That is my only mission in life because my core values are to help people. And so if I hit my potential, I'll have helped the most people I can possibly help. They serve each other. While it may seem intangible and it may seem hard to grasp and it may seem like, well, what's my first move? Again, we're going to talk about how to get out of identity contamination at least. But if you're thinking like, what's my first move to be more me? My recommendation, pen and a notebook. Sit there and do it for weeks and weeks and maybe months and months, as long as it takes for you to be like, who am I? What do I care about? What is my purpose in this world? And there are things like Ikigai, Ikigai. Go ahead and search that. There's a whole bunch of other frameworks and that sort of stuff. Genuinely, I've done all those things. The thing that's helped me the most is literally just sitting in with my own thoughts, often when something's not going right and being like, why hasn't this gone well? And it's uncomfortable as hell. But I know the work I'm putting in, being myself, which is, no one said it would be easy. But if you are being yourself, if you don't allow yourself to continue to be contaminated by other people's aesthetics, values, frameworks, systems, and you start thinking, what one do I want? Anything worthwhile takes a bit of time. You're not going to find it overnight. You might have some lightning bolt inspirations and stuff, but they're going to be half-formed ideas. The biggest value I can give you if you need a payoff from this video is to go buy a fucking pen and a notebook and have no agenda aside from I'm here to just get so uncomfortable trying to listen to myself, trying to figure out what I want. Because the reality is the majority of people in this world are too impatient to find it. And so they subscribe to things that they never wanted to begin with, but they have to pay the bills, or they have to support the family, or they have to whatever. 100%. You have to do those things. I 100% agree. But the big flaw is while they're doing them, then they stop asking the questions, what do I want? They just get complacent. They just do the thing. They have the job, or they create the business that they never truly wanted. So you understand the problem. Obviously, like I said, it's personal to me, super deep. That's why I'm ranting like this. So let's talk about how I got out of it, because I've gotten out of it in the last few days. And everything I'm creating now feels fucking amazing, including this video. I'm not trying to nail YouTube. I'm not trying to hit some sort of like framework, which I was doing in the last 60 days, by the way. I was trying to be like, my hook's going to be this. My future pacing is going to be this. My payoff is going to be this. And anyone who's watching this right now who cares about that stuff, congratulations. You've either unlocked it or you're 100% beating yourself up like I was. I don't care about any of that. I'm creating this for me, okay? Because I know when I said the words identity contamination, all these people came out of the woodworks and they feel it too. So I can only speak from my lens. So let's talk about what I did to get out of it, because everything I've created in the last couple of days feels so fucking aligned, feels so good, which means you can get out of it quick if you know how, okay? You only need one word to get out of it, and it is detox. Wholesale detox. If you are contaminated, you need to detox. As simple as that. All right. So how does it look? If you are flooded with other people's ideas, opinions, values, whatever, you got to cut people off, the end, full stop. Okay. So in my space, I'm around a lot of other entrepreneurs and founders and coaches and that sort of stuff. The only people who I really have in my circle now are a couple of founders who are not paying me, and then my clients, and that's fucking it. All right. So I was on group chats, left the chat. I was getting notifications from other people, silenced them, right? I downloaded an app on my phone called One Thing. It's like $30 for the year. But what it does is it forces you to do an activity away from your phone to unlock the apps in your phone. I don't have a phone addiction. It was just another way for me to be like, I want to force myself not to go in and find other people's opinions, not to, hey, what's the next framework from a post I like, and how can I just copy that post and change the language to my audience? And it's like I'm over engineering everything. Detox, because the first step you need to take is to stop hearing noise. Get out of group chats. Close your fucking email inbox. Only get notifications certain times of the day. You just need the loudest voice to be yours, no matter how scary that may sound. Once you have that, the moment I did that, the next thing I did was I went exactly back to what was working, right? Again, coffee chats, working, from flow, working. I have like 6 calls a week, and my business was doing just fine. To when I tried to engineer a funnel to get 20 calls a week, I couldn't get any because it doesn't fucking align, right? Again, that stuff works. People have calendars full of stuff. That's my fucking nightmare. I don't want 12 clients right now. That's my nightmare, right? So I operated from flow immediately, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., no calls whatsoever. Pretty much Thursday as well. That's just time for me and my wife to connect because she has Thursdays off. So we go to a coffee shop together. We connect with each other. She's my best buddy. She's the only person on planet Earth other than me whose opinion I care about at all. And so optimizing for that kind of stuff. Another thing was kind of asking this question. Every single thing I have been doing in these last few days is when I'm creating content, which has been my day-to-day, recording this video, creating stuff on Instagram and all that sort of stuff, has been, is this pulling me towards myself or away? And all the content I produce today, I'm like, that's exactly what I would say. I'm creating that for me, right? Rick Rubin, famous music producer who has worked with all sorts of big names and now has written a book that I need to read. But one of his core philosophies in creating anything, he goes, the audience is last, right? And in the last 60 days, I was putting the audience first. I was like, what do other people want to hear? What should I be saying? How do I play the game? It's like, all I did flipping that was, how do I put them first versus put me first? What do I want to say? What do I want to create? What feels like art to me rather than content, right? There's this famous saying, content fills space, POV shifts minds. I wasn't using my POV at all in the previous 60 days. And now, like, my post today on Instagram was literally like just talking to people about the wins I've had in 2025. Will I get business from that? No. Do I give a fuck? No. Because I wanted to say it. Because it was high conviction. Because I believe in it. Because I want to remember how 2025 has been the most amazing, failure-ridden and success-ridden, it can be both, year of my life. And the irony is, you do that enough times, and I know this, I just lost my way for 60 days, is the more you speak about what you care about, the more other people will raise their hand and say, me too. And there will be a select few of those people who are like, not only do I believe in that, but I think you are the one person, because you're a couple steps ahead of me, who can help me get to where I want to go, because the life you've got right now, that's exactly where I'm trying to go to, and I want to get there quicker. And none of that is fucking possible if you are doing somebody else's business, if you're doing somebody else's version of life. You gotta detox. So what are the true benefits of all this? It's pretty simple. You write better, you think clearer, you speak in your own voice, you feel your own power, confidence returns, flow returns, momentum returns. Your business becomes effortless because you're you again. And it is so funny because the moment I came up with identity contamination, within hours, I had three phone calls booked in my calendar. The thing that I had been slaving away at for 60 days, paying over $1,000 in ads, paying 5 figures in coaching for none of it to fucking work, is the moment I was like, identity contamination. I did one post that spoke my mind, 3 calls. And again, I don't want like 20 calls in my calendar. So 3 calls is like, sweet, normal week, great week. Just from flipping the switch, I've decided not to be contaminated anymore. I'm going to do what I want to do, and the result shows up. So I'm going to leave you with a core philosophy that I give all of my clients. And it is something I will chip away at and chip away at and chip away at because it's freaking worth it. But it is unique to me as long as I know that I tell everybody that I say, you already have all the answers inside of you right now. Genuinely. You have all the answers inside of you right now. They're in a room inside of you. The problem is the door is locked and you can't see the door because it's under 2 inches worth of dirt. The majority of people, and maybe this is you, and for 60 days, this was me, instead of doing what they need to do, which is grab a fucking broom and start sweeping and say, let me find the answers within. We say, we don't need a broom. We need a freaking rocket ship. We need a laser beam. We need something completely opposite of a broom and look outward. No, I need a new room. No, you don't. No, you don't. Everything you need is inside of you right now. Can people like me or the coaches I've hired help accelerate you? 100%. But if they are trying to help accelerate you, shoving their system down your throat versus work with you hand in hand to find the things that align with you, to build the life that only you want to have, to play the game only you can win. Unless they are doing that, their only true value, and I fucking believe this now, having invested as much as I do, I feel pretty confident with it. The truest value, which is why I'm grateful to all my coaches, amazing people who teach amazing things, but the truest value they've given me is that you need to stop looking outward to create a life only you can live. You are the only person who spends every second of every day with you. I want that to be a person who trusts. I want that to be a person who believes. I want that to be a person who walks in the room and actually genuinely believes, thinks, and says, I'm the shit. And that's why I'm ridiculously grateful for losing my way, because this is the last time, barring that I'm a human being and human beings make mistakes and they say things and they, have to be reminded. This will be the last time I look outward to solve any of my fucking problems ever. And so this video is to tell you about identity contamination and to be a testament that it's not your fault. You're just contaminated. You're just looking for the answer where there can't possibly be an answer for you. You're looking out there. But I swear to God, you don't need a new room. You need a fucking broom. And for me, my recommendation, you know what the broom is? A pen, a notebook, a whole bunch of silence, and a whole bunch of discomfort, and the patience to sweep it all away. So I hope this video has helped you. If you want to learn more about what I do, you can find those links down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. There will be a lot more like this in the future. So we'll see you next time.